Hello everyone, welcome back to baking. Today we're going to be making lovely Hobnob Biscuits, potentially some of my favourite biscuits ever. But first of all, as always, we're going to get the oven heated. So we're going to set it to 160, fan, and gas mark 3, I think. Who knows?
Welcome back to Baking with Paul.
I'm Paul.
And I'm Jack.
Let's go.
And this week, Paul's making friggin' hobnobs.
Let's get in.
Who's excited for a hobnob?
I love Hobnobs.
I think they're great. I think ever since that Peter Kay bit where he's like, dunk me again, dunk me again, I've had a bit of an obsession with hobnobs.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
So first up, you got your scale in your bowl. You zero your scale.
Zero
obviously.
the scales. Obviously, start with the sugar. I think it's, as always, butter and sugar.
So 75 grams.
75 grams of butter, sugar.
That's funny looking butter, that, Paul.
I know. It is 75 grams of butter as well, like, but you know, we'll get to that.
Here we go.
There's the butter. So, just open it up. And make sure it's room temperature. You don't want cold butter. It's a nightmare to try and cream together.
If we've said it once, we've said it a million times.
A million times.
When you need to leave your butter out, leave it out. When you need it to have it nice and cold, leave it in the fridge.
Yeah.
But don't go halfy.
See, 2 goes. Bada bing, bada boom.
That's not bad for you, 2 goes.
Not bad at all, actually.
Normally takes you at least 6.
So, I think I forgot my spoon.
You're thinking about it. You're not sure.
No, I've just remembered what I want.
And you've got your measuring spoon. There we go. Golden syrup, Paul.
It's
not even in a tin.
Syrup. That's what I was asking you for. I was
That looks
asking you
like
for measuring spoons.
That looks like the perfect bottle to just squeeze straight into my mouth.
It is. Do you know what? These little squeezy bottles of golden syrup are so much better than the little...
Easier to use.
Yeah.
But worse for the environment.
Worse for the environment. But you just
I'm amazed though that you went for half a tablespoon and then you thought that you were going to get it all out of the spoon.
Yeah, I'd go probably a full tablespoon because you're going to lose half of it anyway.
Or just try and eyeball it and put it straight in the bowl.
Yeah, I think previously when I've done this, sometimes I've weighed it. I've weighed like half a teaspoon. And I think roughly off the top of my head,
Thank you for the golden syrup.
it's about 12 grams.
I was on a sugar rush for the rest of the day then.
See, I topped it up. And I think I top it up again.
I'm not going to lie to you, I stole a bit out of the bowl.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just disgraceful. So, butter, sugar, golden syrup. Start to bring it all together.
Well, really, the golden syrup is just another sugar, isn't it? That's why it's all going in at the same time.
Yeah.
And those eagle-eye viewers might have just seen me in the background chucking the spoon back into the sink after I licked it.
10 points for Gryffindor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there I am again.
Oh, you came round, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
I remembered. Yeah. So it takes a little while, as usual, when you're creaming your sugar and butter. But
this
the softer,
this was one of the ones we did earlier on in the day, so your butter wasn't as warm as you would have liked it.
Yeah, it wasn't as warm as I wanted it. This was the first one of the day, so the butter was still a little bit cold because I've been left over the weekend. But it wasn't too bad. Just takes a bit of time. So you can see it's starting to come together now. It's nearly at the point of which we can start to add other stuff to it.
You can always do what my nan did every time she ever made biscuits or cakes. Grate the butter.
Yeah, do you know
She
what?
grated it up into bits.
I've tried it and I don't like it.
You don't like it?
No. Unless it's like really cold, and even then, yeah. I'm not a massive fan of it.
Well, because it just means that you've got those little bits rather than big chunks.
Yeah.
I suppose it makes the sugar easier to mix in. But there you go, folks. Try it at home. See if you prefer it or hate it like Paul.
You get 4 arms of steel by doing this, you see.
So you've got your mix. You're adding a little bit of wholemeal flour.
Wholemeal flour. So it's 75 grams of wholemeal flour is what we're looking for.
So we're all 75 today.
Yeah, you'll always find it's pretty bang on. It's the oats that go double.
But then it's a multiple of. So I suppose it's all about your ratio, isn't it?
Yeah.
That makes it easier to scale up or scale down if you want to make more or less.
Yeah, massively. It's so much easier because even bicarb and golden syrup are halves.
So here we go, in with those lovely porridge oats.
These are good porridge oats as well. the proper Scottish, like the big thick ones.
A real oat.
Yeah, I think these were organic ones from Tesco's, you know.
They were swanky.
We went
Paid
all
like
out
extra,
on these.
extra 50p for the bag or something.
Yeah.
Well, you know, with my Scottish heritage, I do like a good oat.
So this is 150 grams of porridge oats. And I think these gave a good texture as well. It was a bit thicker, a bit more crunchy. And there's the bicarb. Half a teaspoon of bicarb. I think I went for a bit of a heap, half a teaspoon. Not gonna lie. Just to get a bit more rise in it and a bit more air in it. I think it paid off actually.
You wanted a bit more puff.
I'm not gonna lie, people. I decided, because I had some lemons left over, I was just gonna try a little bit of lemon zest in. The recipe doesn't call for it. You can go straight up Hob Nobs. But I got a good bit of feedback of this, that it worked quite nicely.
A nice little bit of acidity just to brighten it up.
Yes, it was nice. Nice little bit of added flavour.
It just goes to show as well, the thing about baking is, it's okay to experiment a little bit sometimes.
Absolutely, it's my favourite thing of baking.
See what you've
experimenting.
got lying around and just chuck it in, see what happens.
Exactly.
I think you could probably throw a few raisins or something in these and they'd be alright, wouldn't they?
Or chocolate drops.
Or chocolate drops. Or
I mean, I suggested to you at the end I was going to try and drizzle a bit of chocolate on it, and I changed my mind because I thought chocolate and lemon, it's not a good flavour combination. I mean, white chocolate, yeah, but milk chocolate or dark chocolate, I'd leave.
It's not the way to go.
No.
I was pro no chocolate, wasn't I? Because I'm a
you-
bit of a purist.
Yeah. At this point, I got my hand in because I seen there was a few clumps of butter, so I just wanted to make it go a little bit more wet because it felt quite dry.
Sometimes there's just no substitute for getting your hands involved.
No, it felt like it needed a bit of heat just to get the butter. Because like I said, well, we both said the butter was still cold, so it wasn't really binding together.
It just needed that extra bit of working.
I think, yeah, it did need a bit more work.
So will this kind of stick together, or will it be quite loose, or?
I found it was quite loose, and it wasn't as sticky as I thought it would be.
Right. It feels fairly dry as well, right?
Yeah,
Compared to what you'd normally expect from a biscuit.
but I think if you look at Hobnobs anyway, that's why when you dunk them and dunk them again, because they're quite a dry biscuit, they don't tend to take on much moisture. And I was actually quite surprised of how well this worked out at the end of it, because to me it felt too dry. It felt like it wasn't going to stick together, but surprisingly it did.
But I guess that sugar and that butter is just doing something magic in the oven. So it looks like it's literally crumbly. It's not coming together into a dough.
It's a bit like it's a bit how you'd want a flapjack recipe to look.
Similar.
It's quite similar in a way,
Right.
apart from you melt the butter when you do flapjacks,
Yes.
so it's a little bit more sticky.
Well, I suppose this is melting in the oven as opposed to melting beforehand.
Yeah, exactly.
So you got your scissors, you got your baking paper, and
Yes.
you need a biscuit mold or biscuit cutter.
You do need the biscuit mold because
Well,
it
in fact,
says on
just
the
a
recipe.
ring mold would do the job, wouldn't it? Any sort of ring mold.
Anything and any shape you want. To be honest with you,
Here we go. We're going for a bit of extra syrup.
this is why I added a bit of golden syrup.
never
'cause
going to complain.
No, it felt a little bit too dry and a bit too loose, so I wanted to have a bit more of a binding agent
And
to
then
stick it
you
together.
wandered off to find your trays.
I did my usual trick. I wanted 2 trays. So we got the 2 trays, spoon, just give it a little bit mix. I mixed the rest of that golden syrup in. I think the most time consuming of this, which was quite surprising, was actually moulding them,
Right.
which was very, very surprising.
Actually getting them into the shape you want.
Yeah. Well, it worked tremendously well.
Definitely.
So
I think the only thing I would say is that I would have gone for a slightly smaller mold, I think. Looking at
Yeah.
it now.
I think he was right because you tried to give me a smaller mould, and I point blankly refused.
That's okay.
I think my technical term for it was man-sized biscuits, which you
Yeah.
know is a wrong term.
It's controversial to say things
It
like
is.
that nowadays, but that's okay.
We
We'll let
should
you
just
off
go for
large.
just a large biscuit. I wanted a
Why
nice.
are we
healthy-
giving biscuits a gender?
No, it's totally wrong, but It's like a generational thing,
It
isn't it?
doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter.
Here we go. Bit of baking paper on the trays just to stop them from sticking because they are sugary.
Yeah.
It means you don't have to do as much washing up.
Exactly. Save on the washing. So you're gonna need a little tablespoon for this, and I think it's about 2 tablespoons.
I suppose you could do this with your wooden spoon if you wanted to.
You could do. I think you just wouldn't get
Can't
it
press
in,
it in as easily.
because I think I use the back of the smaller spoon just to squeeze it into the corners, as you can
So
see.
you sort of have to press it down.
Yeah, so you're just helping it to bind. I'm not gonna lie, this wasn't my favourite one.
It's because you used the crinkly edges. I did tell you.
I know.
I think you move over to the round ones now, don't you? After this one,
I would do. And gently just keep your spoon on the back of the biscuit.
press it out basically.
Yeah, you're just pressing it out and keeping it into its shape. So it just broke off a little bit. But it survived
And
and,
so-
it worked out perfectly.
Really, the only thing keeping them in shape is the fact that they've been put in that shape. They're not actually that solid at this point.
Yeah, they're not that solid.
They'll come apart if you move them around too much
Yes.
or whatever.
I think that's why you don't try and ball it up in your hands.
Right.
Because you just wouldn't. And when you try and push it down, they'll just break up.
Right.
That's why you've got the mould, just to help it keep its shape.
I mean, obviously, if you wanted to just go for random shapes, I suppose you wouldn't need to use the mold. It would still cook.
It would still
It's just
go.
going to look a lot nicer if you shape it like that.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that I've never used a mold before, and obviously it's not sticky enough to roll out and just go over it with a cookie cutter.
Could you just put it in a tray and do it like a tray bake?
Yeah, but I suppose you just break it off into whatever shape you want.
Chunk it off, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So at a pinch, you could just roll it. You just fill the bottom of your tray and press it down a little bit.
I mean, you could try it like that. I mean, the outside might bake a bit more than the middle.
The middle might be softer.
Yeah. But you should generally, it depends on your oven as well. If you've got a fan assisted oven, it shouldn't really do that because it's a more all round heat.
That makes sense.
But these were proper thick, large biscuits.
Chunky.
They were chunky and quite large, but they were lovely. I'm not gonna lie. Nice cup of tea or coffee.
They were cracking though.
They were.
You know they're good when I actually bother to eat them because I don't bother with most sweet goods.
Well, I think they all went.
I think this, you know what, baking has made me reappreciate cakes and biscuits more than I ever normally do.
Yeah.
So, thank you for that, Paul. I'm now more unhealthy than I've ever been.
No worries. I'm always happy to help.
So there you go. As you can see, Paul took his time with this. I mean, it's a bit of a fiddly job.
It is a bit.
It does take a little while, but it's worth it because you just get these lovely round biscuits at the end.
It is great fun to do.
And it is important to do that pressing down to kind of give them a bit of structure.
Yeah, absolutely. Otherwise they'll just crumble apart because it's not as sticky as most like cookie doughs or biscuit doughs. Because I think we did Cornish furlings and that's quite a wet biscuit.
Almost a sludge. Yeah, it was very very wet, very soft.
But Cornish furlings.
That's another video. Go back and watch our Cornish fairing video. It was one of the first ones we ever did.
Cornish furling biscuits. Phenomenal.
That's making me think, could you add a little bit of like spices to this? A little bit of ginger, a little bit of cinnamon.
Yeah.
Add it into your mix.
Absolutely.
Make a spiced hobnob.
Oh, absolutely. I'd be more than happy with a spiced hobnob. You know me and cinnamon. Bit of mixed spice. Oh my, these would be.
Cinnamon's a winner.
Yeah. Even a bit of orange zest.
I suppose you did achieve that with the lemon, but orange would give it a bit more of a rounded sweetness.
See, if you could do like an orange and then do a little bit of dark chocolate on top.
That would be really nice.
Quite interesting. I mean, that's why I like baking, because you can just experiment and play about with things to an extent. Obviously, ratios have to stay pretty much the same.
Yeah, and you don't want to mess with the flavour profile too much.
But flavourings you can change. I think quite a little bit. But chocolate on top of these, my God, they'd be elevated. They'd be so good.
I think for me it would ruin it, but that's just personal preference.
I love a good chocolate hobnob though.
I don't mind a bit of chocolate every now and then, but I don't know.
If you want biscuit, I might have to do this if we do some more baking videos. got to be one of my favourite biscuits.
Just dip it in to try and get that smooth chocolatey top.
Yeah,
Or you can do the drizzle over. We'll have to see.
I think I'd have to go for it.
If we do more baking videos, you're not getting off the hook that easy, sunshine. We are doing more baking videos.
I know. We've already got recipes lined up.
We've actually received some requests for the next batch, but anyway, that's a story for another day.
Thank you to Chloe, Lizzie, anyone else?
Jose was contributing, I think.
Jose's, I think, contributed. So a little shout out to them.
But anyone else who wants to throw some ideas our way, and we'll get those in the pipeline, and we'll make a video about them.
Absolutely.
Any recipes? If you've got a recipe that you know is amazing and you'd love to share with everyone,
Yeah.
send us it in. We'll give it a go, and then you can tell us what we did wrong.
Exactly. Yeah. Are we sending to Chris.Burke anytime of the night?
Only between the hours of 10 o'clock at night and 6 o'clock in the morning. Those are his office hours.
He'll forward them to me, won't he?
Yeah. Straight to you.
Alright, gently press it in. And then this is the last one. There you go.
And now, obviously, you don't want them too close together, but we realise that they don't change how much shape in the oven, do they? So
No, you don't.
you can have them fairly close together.
It's like when you ball up cookies, you don't want them too close together because you're gonna they're gonna move out. Whereas these aren't gonna move.
You can see that there. They're only a couple of centimetres apart from each other, but that's fine.
You literally don't move.
They actually
They
remind
spread
me,
out a little bit, but not much.
They remind me a little bit of rice cakes at this point.
They do. Rice cake. Anyone for a rice cake?
Here we go, into the oven.
Into the oven.
See you later.
See you in a bit. Have a good
See you
time.
soon, biscuits. Boom. There you go. And as you can see, not much change in shape. A little bit rounder on the edges.
Yeah, they rounded off.
Crinkly fella fell to pieces a little bit,
You did.
but they've darkened in colour.
So they got like a bit of a golden colour. That's what you're looking for.
You're just looking for the gold colour. We're not looking for any feeling different or anything like that.
Well, at this point they'll feel fairly soft. As you can see, I think try and lift
We
one
did
and
check
it's-
them here. They're not ready to come off
They're
the
very
tray.
soft. So they're like a typical biscuit this stage. You need a few minutes to cool and harden so the sugars
I think we only
harden.
left it for a total of 2 minutes.
Yeah, and you can see already they're a lot more hard.
Yeah, firm up.
Yeah, they just firm up in time.
And then it's onto the cooling rack to cool completely, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I think these ones you could probably leave them on a tray. I just prefer putting everything onto a cooling rack because it cools right down. You don't end up with a soggy bottom. No one likes a soggy bottom.
There we go, they look fantastic.
You do?
Crumbly, sweet, bit of crumb,
Lemony,
touch of lemon. It wasn't lemony, but there was just a little touch
Just
of
a
that
hint.
acidity.
into lemon.
And here we go, glamour shot, everyone's favourite moment.
It is.
Oh yeah, look
There we
at that.
go.
Fancy plate and everything.
Look at that. Beautiful.
You can see there, lovely, even consistency throughout. Fantastic.
Beautiful.
And as always, give it a go, let us know, send us some pictures,
And thank you.
and have some fun.
Exactly. Experiment with the flavours.
We'll see you next time.